human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
When some wild-eyed 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, he looks at Chris in the eye and he asks if you've paid your dues.
Inconceivable! Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hey, it's Geek Public Radio right here on geekpublicradio.com, and we're back. Yay! So, what has been happening in the week that we haven't been? This is the first time that we actually have been quasi-regular. We haven't been on air.
Right.
Because we always go, oh.
Shit, I forgot.
Everything's so busy.
Well, we haven't really worked it into the schedule officially yet, so I think we always have that it's kind of there, but kind of not,
But yeah, so
justification.
It's summertime, so we're actually getting things squared away, and we're here more often. Mm-hmm. Which you'd think would be the reverse. Wintertime, it would be wanting to do stuff indoors and this, that, and the other.
Right.
Speaking of which, it was awesome to actually be out today, even though it was only 50-degree weather. It's still 50 degrees.
Yes. Drug me out into the fucking sun. Had to go face the world.
Mm-hmm. Actually, right now, according to the temperature at Weather Underground, it says it's 63 right now in this lovely town.
Is it really 53?
63.
63.
That's what it says right there in the little box.
Well, you were just complaining about me having the window open.
Yeah, we're not out in the sun.
I turned the light on. What do you want? You're needy.
I'm solar powered. So, one of the things you wanted to talk about.
Yes, the first thing that I wanted to talk about, because I've posted on our as the group, and I've posted in the group, and we've mentioned it on air before, is there has been a response YouTube video from Stan Lee about the treatment that he's received, and where I'd heard Kevin Smith had made comments about, hey, Stan, if your kids are bleeding you dry or what have you, come live with us. We'll take care of you. Well, Stan Lee's put out a video saying this is not the case. This isn't what happened. This isn't what's going on, and all that, and just trying to reassure his fans. And I watch it and I say, okay, if the man wants to, if it's a mistake, okay.
Well, yeah, because he comes out and says, anybody can say anything these days, and, it's taken as whatever.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Somebody goes, oh, did you know this? And then all of a sudden it's all over Facebook that,
Yeah.
that's going on.
And I'm gonna take it at face value because at Stan Lee I have great amount of respect for the man. There is, however, on my shoulder the little guy that is, the conspiracy theorist that I'm famed for, that's saying, hey, this don't add up. Because the guy shooting the video is one of them that they're complaining about. What's going on? And then I listen to that little voice as I watch and rewatch it. And I'm like, man, I don't know. It's got a weird feel to it. And
right?
I hope I'm just reading too much or overthinking it, but it just seemed a little odd. The more I watched it, if you watch it once, take it at face value, great. But the more I started watching it, I'm like... And especially at the end when the guy mentioned something like, well, do you want to talk about... And his mood changes. Mm-hmm. He goes, bipolar changes. He was, it was the earnest Stan Lee we're all accustomed to. And then it's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, okay. More things that don't fit.
Right.
But, there's been a response.
Then it ends kind of
It ends... Then just boom, done. As soon as there's that, which was a little odd to me because I thought, well, wouldn't you edit that out?
Right.
I mean, I'm not the film guy, but I would think that there'd be some serious selective editing if you were actually doing something that you shouldn't have been doing and treating a certain way, and you were going to have that person say that it wasn't happening. I would think you would have your butt puckered so tight and control every part of that. And not let something like that slide through. So, overall, I take it at face value.
Mm-hmm.
Even though deep down there's that guy that's like, hey, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And there's been a response. It's on YouTube. Stanley has responded to... So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. I should actually post that onto the group so that everybody can see it.
I thought you did.
I don't remember.
I could have swore you did.
But
I thought that's where I saw it.
Well, I think I Facebook messaged it to you or something, or mentioned it, or I'm honestly not sure now. There's so much. I post so much stuff that
like every day.
Yeah, and I have stuff scheduled for the pages and things that we're doing. All the different aspects.
Yeah, you posted it a couple days ago.
Did it get posted? Okay. I wasn't sure I have. My memory's going. I think I tell you, I'm getting old because there's things that
You posted that right after the harebrained schemes.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one. The harebrained schemes is in the clear. There was that big BattleTech lawsuit between Gold and Harmony or Harmony Gold. I'm sorry, and harebrained schemes and Piranha Games. Well, harebrained schemes, they're coming out with that new BattleTech game that's just about, if not ready, if not already released. The tactical, it reminds you of Mech Commander is what it does me. So it's free and clear. They're able to, there's no issue with Harmony Gold and harebrained schemes now.
Right.
Piranha Games probably going to take a couple more years to get that all cleared. So we'll see how it progresses. What's going on.
My question about that is if one's already been dismissed, can't that be used as fodder to dismiss the rest of?
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm not a lawyer. By no means. I was a union steward, but I'm not a lawyer. The thing of it is, where I would make my case is because they're having Harmony Gold is actually in the process of getting this document showing that they were allowed to license the stuff for the West. They don't even have the basis for their argument for their lawsuit. It was considered, everybody thought, well, if you're going to file this lawsuit, surely you have documentation to prove that you're the one that was able to be licensed to, and only one. They don't have that. They're trying to get it from, I think it's like Tanaka or something. Takane, I don't know. They're working on getting it from them to prove that they actually have a leg to stand on. If I was a judge, I'd throw that shit out so quick it wouldn't even funny.
I thought
you're wasting the court's time now.
You would think that before you could file the lawsuit,
you would think
you would have to have the proof in hand.
You would think, but they're going through like not a discovery phase, but they're going through something now where maybe it's a letter discovery. I forget what they called it. But I posted. You're
right, but what I read was like they didn't even know what paperwork they needed.
Right, they just knew that they quote unquote knew that they were the only ones that were supposed to be licensed for it, so they filed a lawsuit without basis to back it up. And to me, if I walk into a SEAC hearing with somebody and the state says, well, this is, well, you don't even know. Well, then why are we here, Your Honor? Why are we here? Why are we even going through this? I know of a guy that he went in with a couple of people, and the gal that would go in opposed to him, representing the facility was. Well, I'm not allowed to make that determination, or I can't make that determination. Well, let's get her out of here then. Can we throw her out? Because if she's not allowed to make that determination, or she can't provide that, then why is she here? It's the same thing. I would assume. I mean, like I say, I'm not a lawyer, but seems like a bunch of crap to me.
Yeah, that's the one. I think that's the thing that was like killing me about a lot of stuff is like you look at like what Piranha Games has been doing. Like all the way up to this.
Right.
And now granted this has been going on for a while, but how long have they been doing?
This was filed in like 15 or 16, I want to say.
Yeah, so, but even before that, they were still they've been putting out MechWarrior games and BattleTech games a lot longer.
Right.
They even have MechCon. In fact, I think that started in 2015.
I'm not sure when that
actually started. This is like the second or third year.
Yeah. Well, then it would be,
So, you're looking at like...
I don't know. It seems like, the basis for it, I'd posted a video before this last one that I posted. they were talking about the similarities between the BattleTech, some of their basically it's the LAMs, the land air mechs.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about similarities between those and the Robotech,
Mm-hmm.
because basically it's the same thing. And if you look at them, shit, they do look similar.
Right.
So I can see ruling in the favor. Whether it was something that was intentional or, something just got crossed. I don't know that it was a malicious intent thing, but yeah, I look at some of it, and I love BattleTech, but I look at it and I say, okay, yeah, it does look just like Macross. The Phoenix Hawk, they look pretty similar, if not identical. But some of the things that that they were trying to say, you can't have you couldn't put a copyright or a trademark or whatever you call it. How do you trademark how a robot looks?
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be very specific in detail for them to say, okay, because, if you have a robot that has a gun for an arm, well, I trademark all gun-armed robots. No, that ain't going to work.
Well, the problem with that is they had a little bit of issue. I mean, because you're looking at a game that, actually, the basis for everything came out in '84.
Mm-hmm.
So, just by sheer number of how many, have done stuff, and because that was an issue back when they first started, that, these were so close to whatever. That's why they stopped doing certain mechs and started, with their own mechs.
Mm-hmm.
It's why there's certain books that you can't really find, or they're
unless you're crafty,
because those, they got in trouble and that they dropped them.
And that's why they call those mechs the unseen,
Right?
because they still exist in the universe, but they can't show them to you
Right.
unless you've got the old books. The Marauders one, because it looks like a Destroid
Mm-hmm.
from Robotech,
Mm-hmm.
but now I've got the book. But,
So, I mean, the simple fact is, this is a established thing that's already been taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's already been hammered out. This is just a new medium.
Yeah.
Why is it an issue of seeming like banging your head against a brick wall when it's this is the same thing we did over here?
Well, and part of it too, they had sent because you've got half the companies that are involved in this are over in Japan, where U.S. courts have no legal,
Right.
So the most they can say is send what they call a letter of assistance or letter of something, where they're basically saying, hey, so we got this over here in the States. Is there anything you guys could do to kind of, to the Japanese court to see what they could do? Now, if I was a Japanese court, I'd be like, your problem. You should have handled your business better back in the 80s instead of, letting them lose stuff.
Right.
So it needs to be a dead issue.
Right.
Especially when Harmony Gold can't even come out and say, well, here's a document that shows that we were the only ones that were. If you don't have that,
You don't have any,
you need to pay all the court fees for everybody
everybody.
involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you watch Harmony Gold fold.
Yeah.
Because that's all it was, is really a nuisance lawsuit in order to bankrupt, and get everybody out.
Yeah, it's a dang nuisance case.
I was like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then... Because I'm sitting here looking at this, okay? And let's just talk about, this the box sets and miniature games.
Right.
84, 85. Battle Force came out in 87.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these things. And then, 86 for Mech Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
The role-playing game.
Yeah.
The card game came out in 96.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Wizards only talked to whoever the...
And that's the Hero Clicks type version too, right?
Well, the card game, no, that's just literally the collectible card game.
Okay, the actual the Magic game.
Yeah. Video game wise, we got Westwood Studios, Dynamix, Beam Software, Extreme Entertainment Group, Turboron, Activision, FASA Interactive, Zip Interactive, Cyberlore Studios, Day One Studios, Backbone Studios, Persona Studios, and all of that. Then you got Piranha,
Yeah.
in 2013 with
'Cause
MechWarrior Online.
That's why the online aspect of it's what piqued their interest. They would try to shut that down.
And then, you got like Harebrained Schemes and Piranha, like, the last two. But where was this
For the rest of them.
for all of that?
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at like Battletech, Crescent Hawk, MechWarrior, Battletech the Crescent Hawk Revenge, MechWarrior again, from Beam, Battletech A Game of Armored Combat, MechWarrior 3050, MechWarrior 2 31st Century Combat, MechWarrior 2 Ghost Bear's Legacy, MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries, Mech Commander, MechWarrior 3, MechWarrior 3 Pirate Moon, MechWarrior 4 Vengeance, MechWarrior 4 Black Knight, MechWarrior 2 or Commander 2, MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf, Mech Assault Phantom War, Mech Assault or MechWarrior Tactical Command.
Yep.
Like,
Where was it?
but wait, there's more. Battletech 3025 as a multiple online player game.
Mm-hmm.
Battletech 3056, Battletech 3030, all from volunteers on Muse. Battletech The Frontierlands, Intersphere 3028, Invasion 3042, MechWarrior Living Legends,
Yeah, I was going to say, the Living Legends was a Crisis mod, I believe.
Mega Mech, The Shack Mech Wars Campaign, Multiplayer Battletech EGA from Kasami, Multiplayer Battletech Solaris, Multiplayer Battletech 3025, Neverrun, MechWarrior Online, MechWarrior Tactics. And then on top of that, you got the VR, which is, Battletech VR, Battletech Firestorm, MechWarrior 4, and not a peep.
Right. And they're currently developing MechWarrior 5.
Yeah, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. It's expected this year, but
Yeah. I would expect it more in the early part of next year, but we can hold out hope.
Well, from what everything they're saying is like they're ready to go. It's just they're being. Because I was looking at the play video for like BattleTech, the play video from Harebrained.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like I could totally do that. That's awesome. But like so, all of that weight of we've been doing this, and now you want to.
And I don't know if it's because the different licensing, with the newer companies compared to when it went through litigation or what have you with FASA, if because licensing and things have changed, so that's a possibility. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a lawyer, but it sure don't look right.
No, it doesn't. It looks like we have something and we want to do. We're going to nuisance these people into dropping the thing.
Or paying us money.
And paying us money so we can go do our own or whatever.
Yeah. And if they were smart and they were going to do it that way, then what they should have done would have been wait until the game got out, made a whole lot of money, and then pressed it. And say, okay, well, you owe us this with the licensing. And made sure they had all their ducks in a row and their cards on the table, instead of coming back after the fact and not having half their stuff. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. But at least Harebrained Schemes is out of the. They're in the clear. Right. So they can continue with their BattleTech game, which should be released anytime now. And then we still have to worry about Piranha Games, and I believe they're the ones that are involved with MechWarrior 5, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my question is this: Harmony Gold. Isn't even anything really tied into. Cause I was just looking back into this. Like they're a motion picture distributor, and a production company, and a real estate developer. Like this doesn't sound like something that would be. It sounds more like a a place where people launder money.
Yeah. Yep.
I am not joking. We're a real estate developer, but we have the rights. We have the rights for Robotech.
What do you in? I'm in the import-export business. Oh, yeah? What do you import and export? A little of this, a little of that. Really? Yeah, really. Don't ask questions. Take your bribe.
It also comes back, and it says something about they went out of business in 2006.
I don't know.
Oh, no, like Intersound went out of business in 2006.
Yeah.
Okay. Because as I'm looking at this, it's like, what is this? And they have the Japanese rights for whatever.
Supposedly. Now, they don't have proof of that.
They don't have proof of that.
But supposedly they have the rights.
They filed against FASA,
Mm-hmm.
and in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you got Warhammer, Valkyrie, and the Marauder.
Mm-hmm.
Were the ones that were overlapping or whatever.
Yeah, and that's a load of crap.
So, boom, they pulled all that stuff. So why, if those are the ones that aren't there anymore?
Well, they have redesigned the Warhammer for sure, I know of. Because if you recall, there used to be the big searchlight on the shoulder. It's still on our box sets,
mm-hmm.
the little gray plastic ones it still has them on there.
Right.
But the new Warhammers don't have it sticking up like that. Now it's more mounted more low on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some small alterations that were made to it, but it was never anything that I thought was really that big a deal. I mean, I guess.
This wouldn't be the first time, because Harmony Gold sued Hasbro.
Yeah.
In 2013 for the G.I. Joe versus Transformers Epic Conclusion sets.
Really?
Saying that it was violated their copyright license and trademarks on the animated Japanese Macross TV series.
How did they figure that one? Was that the one about Jetfire?
I have no idea.
Because they said Jetfire looked too much like one of them. I forget what they're called.
I will look that up.
Because I do remember there was a big stink over the Jetfire toy and Transformers coming out, and they wound up having to kind of somewhat in a small way redesign it some.
Well, actually, this was dismissed with prejudice.
Oh, okay.
They said no. The court went no.
Well, see, that's what Piranha needs. They need to buddy up with Hasbro and cut Hasbro in on their deal, and then let the Hasbro lawyers deal with them.
Right. Well, what it did was apparently it was the San Diego Comic-Con whatever Epic Conclusion box set.
I think I remember something about that. But the details escape me.
They claimed that it sustained substantial precautionary damage due to the sale and distribution of the toy set. They asked that Hasbro stop selling, marketing, and distributing unauthorized toys or other projects based on Harmony Gold's copyrighted works, and for Hasbro to deliver all toys and other products in its possession that violate the copyright. For Hasbro to require to recall all toys from any persons or entities known to have purchased or received copies of the infringing item. For Hasbro to be required to account for all gains, profits, and advantages derived from such acts of infringement, and for Hasbro to pay Harmony Gold the damages suffered for the infringements, any profits attributed to the sale or distribution of the products, exemplary damages, prejudgment interest, lawsuits, costs, attorney fees, and other that the court deemed appropriate. Okay,
so we've determined that it is a giant crack rock that they're smoking. Because I don't know anybody on the face of the earth that, if you buy something and you're okay, is it a recall? Is there something dangerous about it? No, it's just because we didn't have well, tough shit. I'm not sending you back something I bought, as a collectible or, as an just because, them thinking that people would do that in the first place is a little bit ridiculous. Now, sure, that's not really their problem. You know, they're wanting Hasbro to do it, but it just these companies, I swear. Oh.
I don't know how. I don't know how you could get Transformers and a G.I. Joe crossover.
Yeah, and have that mistaken for Robotech.
Right.
That's why I was asking, was it Jetfire? Because I know the original Jetfire toy did look somewhat like one of the Phoenixes or whatever it is, the thing in Robotech. It did kind of look like one, especially when he was transformed into a robot mode. But as far as I can't think of another Transformer that would even remotely resemble anything in Robotech. Much less, G.I. Joe.
Right?
Or
like,
even
huh?
you know how they do, like, they kind of cross, like you can get Transformers that, it's like Darth Vader when it's transformed, or and it's an actual Transformers toy, but it's not the Transformers universe. Obviously, it's just like the Death Star transforms into Darth Vader, or something like that. I could see something like that maybe, but not to the point where I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What is
that is what they.
Hang on a second. I can't really see that good. They're coming around here.
And then I'll just shut the monitor off for you.
Okay, you're talking about
That is the thing that they shut down.
over the plane?
I don't know.
It's the comic they shut down, not the actual toy?
No, it's the whole box set. Like, they had a whole box set with toys and the whole 9 yards. Like, anything that had to do with this is the cover of the box set, too.
Okay, well, looking at that, it is the same colors as Jetfire. I think maybe it's supposed to be Jetfire, but it doesn't really look like Jetfire.
That's the toys that were in it.
Okay, it's not crack they're on, it's black tar heroin.
Yeah.
No.
Because I guess it's got three G.I. Joe characters in it, and a Jeep, and a couple of odds and ends, and
I think it's supposed to be Starscream.
Okay.
I think that's who it's supposed to be, but it looks like Starscream hopped up to almost as much steroids as you would imagine Jetfire being on. But and although the
it's
colors
Jetfire.
Oh, is it supposed to be Jetfire?
Autobot Jetfire.
Okay, well.
It came with the Baroness and Ravage, the Pathfinder, or the Panther robot.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes, and they have him listed as an Autobot Ninja. Decepticon, Samurai Robot. Autobot Blaster, Boombox with the cassette, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the Autobot
removable booster engines for Jetfire.
Yeah,
because that's all those orange things were booster engines.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense.
And Hound with an opening hood, which is an Autobot thing. And that was what was
but
in
Hound's a Jeep. He's not a car.
Yeah, that's what.
Is it a Jeep?
Yeah,
I can't see because your monitor's in the way.
Yeah, it's a Jeep.
Okay.
So,
well,
those were the toys that were sold in the San Diego Comic-Con bundle thing that got all shades of...
after seeing this, I would like to think that somewhere there might be a judge. Of course, we're talking about California, so there might be a judge somewhere that just looks at Harmony Gold and says, if you bring one more lawsuit into this court,
mm-hmm.
There's a very obvious reason seeing these pictures now why it was dismissed with prejudice. It should have been dismissed with dumbass, go home. That's nuts. I can't. I would have been ashamed to even try to argue that.
I actually want to look at like the list of Harmony Gold
Lawsuits they filed.
lawsuits.
You know, it used to be if you would, when I was working for the, anyway, if you filed a lot of frivolous grievances or unmeritorious grievances, you get your ass in trouble.
Right.
And I believe isn't there a legal, like through the court system, isn't there something pretty comparable for filing frivolous lawsuits that are unfounded? Maybe it's time to break that out. Maybe this last thing here with Harmony Gold and Piranha, maybe they need to have the stipulation put on them. You bring one more and we're coming down on you like a ton of bricks.
Right.
Because that's kind of ridiculous right there. I mean, everybody everybody deserves the ability to, if they feel like they've been wronged, to seek compensation or seek, retribution, what have you, get your closure. But if you're just going and poking the bear and picking fights, you need smacked. And it looks to me like Harmony Gold needs smacked.
They also they got so you got FASA, you have Hasbro, then you have all of the other stuff that's going with BattleTech and whatnot, that stuff now. You have Harmony Gold initiating arbitration against Tatsunoko.
Yeah, that's the place that wasn't Tanaka, it was Tatsunoko.
It said, with exception of the original visual depictions of the 41 characters, which are owned by Big West Advertising, not Tatsunoko.
Right.
An arbitrator found that they did have the rights to, Fortress Macross, Southern Cross, Clamor, Mostpedia, whatever, until 2021.
Okay. And
then I would shut them down.
Yeah.
Like, no. But the Harmony Gold hold trademarks for the Macross and stuff like that until 2022. But the pending expiration of the licensing agreement could affect the trademark ownership. As soon as they lose the license, I think that forces them to give up the trademarks because they no longer have the license for the materials, so they can't own a trademark for something they're not licensed to.
You reckon we get the licensing for that?
Yeah.
I think we could.
Yeah. I mean, if they could. They're a freaking... They're a freaking real estate developer. Why are they worried about...
Let's get the licensing for that. No, I'm serious. I mean, you want to see Pat jump up and down until we're licensed from across. And let's start pumping stuff out. We'll just start pimping it right and left.
Right. What kills me is this, like I said, Japanese, you said before, that Studio New actually holds the Macross intellectual property. Not Tatsunoko.
Right.
And the license that Tatsunoko was given for intellectual distribution was outside Japan only and does not allow them to control the property.
Right.
So them licensing out other people to be licensed out, I think...
Yeah.
That's like subleasing your apartment when it literally says in your lease, no, you're not allowed to subrent or sublease your, sublet your apartment.
Right. So how much stuff have they skated by? How much money have they acquired?
Apparently a lot.
Based on just people backing down and paying what have you when they don't have a loaded gun they're pointing at them.
Right.
So now Just saying, this could be the end of them if they got to come up with real evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Never take anybody's word for it. Ever. But
And well, that's the thing is, like, here it specifically says, the producers of BattleTech ruled that any designs not developed in-house would no longer be used in order to avoid future issues.
right.
And that was in 85.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this an issue in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018?
Black tar heroin. That's all I can tell you.
And and I thought if you had a license for something, you had to be actively using that license. When was the last time they did any Macross related stuff?
I want to say they put something out on Netflix, but I'm honestly not sure.
Was that Macross or was that?
That was Robotech.
Right, but they only have the rights to the Macross.
To the Macross in Japan, yeah. Well, that I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'm not up on Japanese anything because it scares me. I mean, you only got to wander so far down the wrong hallway at the con, and you'll be scarred for life.
I mean, you have toys and whatnot, but I don't see, and I don't know, the Robotech transfer, some of their Transformer tech or whatever, it looks an awful lot like Transformers.
Yeah.
So if they're not licensed for Transformers in the West,
yeah. I don't know, but I'm serious. I want the Robotech. I want to get the Robotech licensing.
Well, what we need to do is talk to Studio New.
Yeah.
Contact them.
Yeah.
And say, we're just a small, humble little thing. We actually want to do stuff with this in the West that isn't ridiculous.
But we're fixing to do Piranha Games a solid because we're going to yank the rug right out from underneath them.
Be like, hey, don't worry about those guys.
See those guys? See that little guy? Don't worry about that little guy. Which opens today, the second one.
No,
Super Troopers, 4/20.
Oh, yeah.
It was released. Yeah, I'm gonna see if it's on the Fire Stick. I mean I'm gonna go to the theater and see it.
Yeah,
not on the pirate device.
Yeah, don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. We don't like that.
But yeah, so again, of course, there could be things that we don't understand or whatever, and it could be things that they don't understand. They're just I thought
there's quite a bit they don't understand, honestly.
We were told that we had the rights to touch anybody.
Yeah. Maybe you do in Japan, your honor and all that. I don't know, but
what's funny is
about,
like it said in the thing, the Tatsunoko is only only licensed to distribute outside distribution. They don't hold any licensing for anything else.
Right.
They cannot say yes or no or whatever. So everything that Harmony Gold has done is outside their licensing purview because it's only for distribution.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I wonder how many people or how many companies have ponied up the cash.
5 minutes of doing quick research.
5 minutes compared to 2 years at Harmony Gold, and they're still waiting on their documents.
Right? So, well, we thought we had, for all this other stuff. No, it's just for distribution. That means all those toys that you're pumping out now, you're licensing to other people to produce, is illegal. So now you owe Studio New.
So here in a week, we're going to read about some lawsuits that have been filed because people have like, hey, wait a minute, that
right?
Licensing has been purchased, and
I would sue in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
apparently they do.
Yeah.
I think it would be
it's karma.
Fair play.
Yeah. It's karma at that point.
You'd be like, so you're telling me that you don't even have, according to the original property holders, you don't have a license to actually for the property itself.
Right.
At most you may have the license to distribute the materials for them.
Congratulations, you've just litigated yourself out of business. Oopsie.
Yeah. So, fun times.
Yeah, so we should probably move on from that.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here going,
Yeah, makes your head hurt, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
You know. So what else has been happening in the big wide world?
In the big wide world?
Yeah.
Well, I know in the little wide world,
Yeah.
we're still looking for beta testers.
Yeah.
We're doing all that.
Yeah.
We have quite a few. We're still ironing out the kinks and whatever. And it's not the kinks for the people listening or watching or doing whatever. It's kinks on the reporting side to us. So like knowing how many people listen. We know how many people have installed. I think installed or activated the channel or installed the channel on the Roku. But I can't tell you how many people watched because those are all zeros.
Oh, is it?
And I know for a fact that several people have just hit play and walked away and let it go through everything as much as it commercials fired off. Then yes, it does have a couple ads, but it's not nearly as many as I've seen.
Right.
There was one channel that I went to and hit a button. I was like, okay, I want to watch this. And it's like, okay, let me check this out. I click it. Like, you will think add of 1 of 4. And then, like, it reset. All I watched was literally ads. And I never got to watch the show that it was all just, like, 5 minutes of ads. I was like, all right, screw this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I get pissy when I play Hulu and it says 120 seconds. I'm like, God damn it.
No, like, opening up, there's a small ad, yada, 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 this, do the yada, 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 and then it plays the thing. And then when it gets to a certain part, it triggers another ad. So it goes to, like, an ad break. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, this is for the stuff that's over an hour long.
Right.
At that 45 minutes, if it's, like, 80 minutes long, 45 minutes, you're going to get a small ad.
Yeah.
But the getting all that stuff squared away and doing all that, none of that's that's being triggered. People are telling me they're watching it and everything's going and it's working perfect.
But we're not getting it on.
But we're not getting the reports. Yeah. So that's something before we move into the next phase and actually make it available. We need to figure out why it's not doing it, because then the one thing that channel is supposed to help us do is run the station.
Right.
With what little money we would get from the ads. We won't get a lot.
Right.
But
if we can get enough to cover, like, paying the next tier for the storage for the hours,
yeah. So, but it's coming together and it's working out. Along those lines, Netflix came out with released Lost in Space.
Yeah, I have not watched it yet, but I think you have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost all the way through it.
Yeah.
And
now I heard they'd said that, was it Dr. Smith, right? That was the the bad guy. Now, is that a woman in this one? Okay, I'd heard that they'd changed. Not that that's bad or anything. I don't want to kick open that can of worms. I just curious. I mean, I went through, like, I didn't have a problem with them making Starbuck a female. I think that worked all right.
But
especially if it's going to be a nude scene.
But it's good so far. I went into that going, okay, I mean, they retooled it, and it's not just them lost. It's like whole colony thing, whatever. And
oh, okay.
So they've actually.
So you've got some red shirts.
Yeah. And the robot's the robot, and it's a little different, and Dr. Smith is different. Like, it's not the conniving evil, her doctor, conniving, whatever. She's still twisted.
It's not the 60s Dr. Smith, and it's not the Matt LeBlanc Lost in Space Dr. Smith.
No.
Yeah. It was the spider or whatever he was supposed to be.
Right. It's more like Sybil.
I don't have a response that wouldn't get me flamed.
Basic Instinct, or not Basic Instinct, but
whoa.
what was one of those others where, like, just off the rocker, you're not the hand that rocks the cradle style. Like, it's just straight up not. Are you laughing at me because I'm digging a hole?
No, I'm laughing because I've got all these responses going through my head and I can't say a damn one of them. Oh man, it hurts.
Like halfway through the thing, it's like somebody just needs to put a bullet in her. Like the more that people start like in the character, like the more the characters
I went
start
12 for a second. I'm sorry.
But it was like the longer I'm watching this, I'm like somebody like they're starting to catch her in lies and this, that, and the other, and it's like somebody just needs to shoot her.
Something.
Like you're on an uncharted planet in a galaxy that you didn't even know existed.
Maybe she just needs a hug.
But
think she needs a hug?
12 gauge hug to the face.
Oh. Maybe she just needs a hug.
We'll be friends.
She just needs a hug.
But along those lines of 12 gauge hugs to the face, on the 22nd we get to see Westworld again. We get that's coming back, so that'll be fun.
I don't remember anything about it.
You don't remember anything about it?
Yeah, I watched some of it, but everybody kept going on and on and on about how great it was, and really it just wasn't memorable to me.
Oh yeah,
there's a guy in a black shirt that's a gunslinger. There's robots, and some of them have sex. Man, that's it. It's like Blade Runner.
You didn't like Blade Runner either.
I haven't seen Blade. No, I've seen the old one. I like the old one. I haven't seen the new one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new one either. The sequel. That's been like 30 years later.
Yeah, I guess it is a sequel since Harrison Ford's on it. They didn't kill him in that show. I did see a thing that said more people are more excited for Infinity War to come out than the next Star Wars movie. I'm like, well, there's a reason. They better not screw Thanos up though. That's going to release next week.
Mm-hmm.
There may not be a show next week because we may be in the theater.
Well, that is acceptable. Well, but given the way that we've been doing the show lately, we'll
have our show on Wednesday like we're supposed to, and then the man caves just left fend for themselves because they'll be here in
right.
like 20 minutes to want to do their show.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's about it for today.
Yeah.
We talked about we touched on the Stanley thing, and we talked about Harmony
Gold's dumbassery.
Some of the stuff that came to Netflix, with Lost in Space and the relaunch or the second season of Westworld.
Who plays Dr. Smith in the?
Parker Posey.
I don't know her.
You would if you saw her.
Is it worth me looking up?
Yeah, she's been in quite a few things. She was in, I do believe she was in the Blade Trinity.
As?
The woman.
Which one?
One of the vampire. You had her and Triple H and that other guy.
The blonde?
No, the dark-headed.
No, I'm talking about, was she blonde in it? You're talking about the one that had the Pomeranian that was a vampire dog.
Yeah.
Which was such a retarded ass thing to see. But kind of creepy at the same time, so I was okay with it.
It's like, stop talking about all this, stop talking about your dicks. It makes me jealous. Or whatever.
I don't know, I'm trying to think of what she looks like. I'm trying to decide whether she needs a hug or not. Oh, you're going to pull it.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that has been the show. We'll be back sometime.
She could use a hug. Roll it up there so I can see. Well, I can't see because your monitor. Like, blow the picture up. I got bad eyesight. And from where I'm sitting, it looks like Fairuza Balk.
It's not. But anywho, we'll be back after a break of a week or so. We'll try to get back and do these. We're kind of getting back to doing semi-regular, but we're
give
doing.
her a hug. Yeah, we'd start there. Anyway.
But this is Topher
And Little Sonny.
and we'll talk to you next week.
I'm gonna go watch Lost in Space.